today against Plymouth Argyle?
I think there's a lot of managers will tell you that probably the hardest 3 points in getting them first 3 points, because if you don't get them the first day, then all of a sudden the anxiety creeps in. If you don't get them the second game, then it gets worse and it builds. But it's probably it's a good sign that you've got one, a clean sheet, and two, they've got the nous to win the game at Roots Hall, which wasn't the fortress that we wanted to be. You know, last year six wins out of 23. Now all of a sudden 1 out of 1 and a good clean sheet, a good defensive performance against a fairly brutal attack. I thought it was 4-2-4 at times, and they had pace, they had power, they had strength, they had height, and we asked both Luke Prosser and Mark Phillips to dominate the opposition, and I thought they did in large periods of the game. But today it was about a collective, you know, and I thought the performance was worthy of the win, and I'm delighted for the boys, because the 6 weeks is now on the wave behind, and we're now addressing what's the challenge ahead, which is now 45 games.
You've spoken about how you wanted to put a marker down early this season. Do you think the players did that today, especially in front of the home fans?
I think so. I think markers are important. You know, I think the punters came to the QPR game and the punters that came to the West Ham game will have witnessed a style of football that was probably second division football. Now all of a sudden that today was probably more conducive to second division football, but I want to try and get the ball down a little bit more. And I think we showed glimpses of that. I haven't got Barry Cope there up front because he's a 6'3" striker and I want to lump the ball up to him. I want to try and play to Barry Coe's strengths, and I think he's got great ability. You can get the ball into feet, head, chest, thigh, whatever, and Barry can control it. Get Freddie involved a little bit more, and then the dynamics of the team kick on. But yeah, there was a lot of good signs today from individuals, and certainly from the collective. I think a 1-0 scoreline flattered to a certain extent Plymouth, but you know, I'm delighted with it.
I think 1-0 results are what Gillingham built from last season when Absolutely. They got promoted, and I think that's going to be key, isn't it? It doesn't matter 4-0, whatever, but 1-0 results, grinded out wins. It wasn't a grinded out result today, but it doesn't matter, does it? It's
no, it was. I don't think it was a grinded out performance. I think it was one towards the end where at 1-0 you can get a little bit nervous. They've thrown caution to the wind, they're throwing everything at you, and I thought we had the courage of our convictions at time to get the ball down. There's one or two individuals you can talk about, but for me it was a team collective and a great team performance.
And the clean sheet will please you immensely as well. Striker scoring, defenders keeping a clean sheet.
More than ever. I think delighted for the young man in goals. You know, he's managed to keep a very good goalkeeper on the bench, and I know Paul Smith's had his problems with regards to injury, but you know, looking at the two of them at the moment, I think if Paul Smith can get his full act together, there'll be a real competition for places in that department. And then if I've got that at centre half, I've got that full back, I've got that midfield and strike force, then we've got a good chance.
I think there were 6,000 Blues fans here today. They made some real noise and created a really good atmosphere, didn't they? Something you've been...
Absolutely, I'm delighted for the Blues fans. I've been in this stadium walking around last week, and it has got atmosphere, you know, whether it's full or empty, it's got something about it. You know, how many years has it been built? I mean, you just walk around it, and it has a feel-good factor. If we can get that feel-good factor on the field of play, and you know, all of a sudden it becomes a reciprocating process. They help us, we help them. And
that first win will give us confidence going into Yeovil, I imagine, especially at home.
Already thinking about Yeovil, already thinking about what team to play. I want, you know, success at the football club on all levels. I don't want to throw the game away at all. We have got fitness criteria or issues with the 3 new signings, so there's every chance that Connor Clifford and Julian Bennett and Craig Regal start on Tuesday night, but I'm not going to throw the tie away by any stretch of the imagination. I want to try and win it. We're a small squad. We need to be competitive within that squad, and if that means utilising the squad for the game on Tuesday, then so be it.
Your first home win as Southend United manager, you'll have a nice Saturday evening, I imagine.
Well, I've got a father-in-law and a mother-in-law who've got a 40th Ruby anniversary tonight, which I'm just going to have a quiet meal with them and my wife and daughter, and then come in for work tomorrow morning. Thank you.
Barry Coe showing his importance, obviously, with someone that we came close to losing during the summer. Got the winning goal today, and again, he's a very important player for the Southend, isn't he, with his scoring record?
He scored in the West Ham game, as we witnessed, with a free kick. He's sort of an enigma when you think about it, because he's 6'3", 6'4", and he doesn't play that way. You know, he plays with a number 10 on his back, and he actually plays like a number 10. You know, he's got good ability, you know, he does things on the field of play that you would expect a little fella to be doing.
Yeah.
And then he bends a free kick against West Ham with a certain aplomb, and then he finishes off today. And I think he leads the line well. I think there could be a complementary pairing with Freddie Eastwood and Craig Reid, and hopefully another. Who knows? You know, if we can bring one more in before maybe before Tuesday or certainly before Saturday, then we might have a good competition, a healthy competition for places up front.
How close was Kevin to being involved today? Was he?
No, Kevin he was the only negative, I think, the only downside. When you can name 1 to 11, excluding the goalkeeper of course because he's wearing 17, but if you can name 2 to 11, and we weren't far off that today. We missed out with Michael Timlin and Craig Reid in 8 and 9. It's normally a good sign that you can put your strongest 11 out, and Hursty probably last season would have been in the strongest 11. Now we might have a little bit of competition for places with Will Atkinson in that position, with Lenny in that position. I've got certain players at the football club that have got a good football awareness and they can move around and they can play in different positions, and that for me with a small squad is a very healthy environment.
And you must have been played with anti-striker, his performance out on the wing today.
Yeah, you
tackles, but,
you can call him a winger now if you want to, because he's got an 11 on his back. But he's fitting in well in that position. It's a new position for him. With the attributes that he's got, which is a good left foot and pace, why not? Ben Coker slots in behind him quite nicely, and when he goes past him, Anthony Stricker becomes the left back. So if I can get that on the right hand side as well, we'll be a force to be reckoned with on both wings.
Versatility, you actually want in the squad, don't you? People who can play in
Absolutely,
positions.
absolutely, key factor.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Thank you.